What's up everyone? So today I'm joined with Leo. He is a medical student in Ireland. So the topic of this video today is doctors and why they don't know as much about nutrition as all of us think they do. All of us believe that doctors are the people to go to, and a lot of people put their full trust in their doctors to help them out with their problems. And as nutrition obviously plays a huge role on our health, we obviously trust the doctors to give us advice on that as well.
The reason why most doctors don't know any more about nutrition than your average person pretty much is that there is little to no nutritional training in medical schools today. And trust me guys, I know this from first-hand experience. I was actually quite surprised over, we even have a module called Nutrition and Energy, but most of it goes to biochemistry, pharmacokinetics, you know, drug reactions and how it's processed in the body, Krebs cycle, glycolysis, beta oxidation, that sort of thing. But very little emphasis goes on the actual nutrition. We've already gone through all the nutritional training that we are going to receive, and that is just about 3 or 4 lectures on nutrition, a few lectures on vitamins, and then we had a couple of lectures on digestion. And let me tell you, unfortunately, the nutritional lectures were very disappointing. We got taught on food pyramid, something that is so outdated. You know, I learned about it in primary school when I was 10. Like John said, it plays a huge part in our health, nutrition does, and you would hope that doctors knew more about nutrition, but it just is not the case. And this is not just my school, this is not limited to my school alone. You know, many doctors admit to not really knowing anything about nutrition. And the latest survey in the United States examining medical schools and their curricula on nutrition found that less than a quarter of medical schools in the US even offered a nutritional course, and this nutritional course is optional, so most people won't be taking them, you know.
Some of my personal training clients come to me and say that their doctors have recommended them to stop, you know, eating a vegan plant-based diet and, you know, start eating meat again. So do you think that doctors in general, you know, advise against the vegan diet?
Yes, and this is just because of the total ignorance towards veganism. Pretty much nobody, none of the medical students know anything about veganism. How do you get enough protein? You know, they ask you the exact same questions as a random person on the street. And for example, one of the lectures on nutrition, you know, I told the lecturer, you know, I'm vegan, what do you think? And the lecturer was like, oh, you're setting yourself up for iron deficiency. You know, the American Dietetics Association has come out and said that vegan diets can be optimal for all stages of life, you know, including pregnancy, childhood, you know, for athletes. It just comes down to a general ignorance on the subject of veganism.
So this unfortunately means that many doctors don't give good nutritional advice to patients and rather resort to drugs, which also resorts to the patients continuing to eat bad foods while taking drugs as a means of treating themselves.
Yeah, and that's exactly another result of the educational program, where the emphasis is mostly on recognizing disease, making a diagnosis, and treatment with medication. That is the main focus of the general practice of doctors today. Doctors eat pretty much just as unhealthily as anybody else. As back in the days when smoking was around, doctors were some of the worst smokers in society.
The pleasing mildness of a camel is just as enjoyable to a doctor as it is to you or me.
Today, doctors eat a lot of junk food just like everyone else. And just like anybody else in society, doctors also have their biases against food choices and changing their way of eating, because like anyone else, they don't like changing their way of living and their customs. A lot of doctors will still get heart disease, they will still go on statins or cholesterol-lowering drugs. It just goes to show doctors are like anybody else, they will fall victims to bad nutrition and these chronic diseases that so many of us suffer from.
So although nutrition plays a crucial role in our health, why do doctors and the people that we put our trust in the most not tackle this, not talk about nutrition?
So the reason this is because a lot of the research that is going on is being sponsored by the industry, and the research in turn is very important for universities. So the universities that are conducting this research are indirectly being sponsored. Not only the research that the university does, but also the lectures and the course material itself will be affected by the industry that is promoting all the research that is going in. For example, in obesity lectures in our school, we get taught a lot about different drugs on the market, only a little bit about lifestyle and the nutritional choices that you can make to avoid obesity. So because a lot of these studies are being funded by the industry themselves, then we get a much more positive view in favor of those companies. So studies sponsored by these companies or conducted by these companies that have a negative outcome, they find negative things about whatever it is they're designing, are a lot less likely to be published. So this shifts and gives kind of a bias towards whatever it is that they're studying. And it's not like there aren't any studies for lifestyle and you know, dietary interventions. You know, the few studies that are done often find that diet and lifestyle interventions are just as effective, if not even more effective than any of the drugs. And what is the negative side effect of eating more broccoli and spinach and exercising more, you know? And not only will the industry publish less of the studies that find a negative outcome, but a meta-analysis found that studies that are sponsored by the industry are 4 times more likely to find a positive outcome regarding what the company is you know, investigating.
And some of you might be asking yourself, why is lifestyle and diet so important if doctors don't talk to you about it? There is no massive broccoli industry with billions of dollars, you know, trying to, you know, promote studies and, you know, market their way, you know, into people's lives. You know, Big Pharma has, you know, 10 companies of the top, you know, Fortune 500 companies in the world. 10 of them are Big Pharma, and those 10 companies make more money than the rest of the 490 Fortune 500 companies combined. If you don't think that that plays a part in, you know, the perception of the public, you're very mistaken. In the US, for example, they're spending $290 billion on drugs yearly. And what are the effects of that? 49.8% of the American population is taking at least one prescription drug in the past 30 days. And that doesn't even account for painkiller, like over-the-counter stuff. That's prescription drugs. 50%. And 1 in 5 Americans are on 3 or more drugs in the past 30 days of their lives. So it's insane, guys. And if you think that doesn't have an effect on education, they donate money to universities as charity. That is pretty much like, you know, tax-free marketing for them. And if you're thinking, oh well, you know, the FDA is there to regulate, blah blah blah, the system is corrupt and we're not here to, you know, go deep into this stuff. You can go do your own research. There are tons of leaked documents finding that the FDA have board members who are in the pharmaceutical industry and they influence decisions and regulations and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's not conspiracy theory.
You know, we don't want to sound like we're just bashing on all doctors or anything. There are doctors who have extensive and additional training in nutrition who do know what they're talking about, but we are talking in a more general perspective. You know, in a general sense, there is way too little emphasis on nutrition, lifestyle, prevention, and, you know, in the end of the day, prevention is going to be way more effective than any drug on the market.
And I encourage you guys not to just take our word for it, but do your own research, dig deep, and find the truth, because it is a fucked up world.